entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
You're voting for these Republicans in New York. You're voting for someone who supports Donald Trump, and you're anti-woman, you're anti-abortion, and basically you're anti-American because you have just trashed American values and what our country is all about.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all.
Here's a classic Quincy Jones piece right here, Danielle. We Are the World. Quincy Jones passed away yesterday at the age of 91. This was his We Are the World. About half of the artists in this song have now been banned from the Sid Rosenberg show, but that's a whole other story. And that was your governor, Kathy Hochul, saying, hey, if you're Sid, and a lot of you folks listening right now, and you vote Republican tomorrow, Lawler, D'Esposito, Molinaro, then you're anti-woman, anti-American. John Catsimatidis, Mr. What Apple Media is anything but. He's a great guy, host of Cats and Cosby, 5 p.m. every weekday afternoon, the Cats Round Table, 8 a.m. every Sunday morning. So, John, what do you think of what our governor said yesterday?
Well, I know Kathy Hochul, and I'm very, very disappointed. I don't think any politician, whether Democrat or Republican, should talk like that. I think those words were uncalled for, and I think she should apologize to all Americans.
Well said, especially New Yorker. She is a governor of this state. So, John, I had Lawler and D'Esposito on together. I know you heard it about 45 minutes ago, and City and State, I don't read that, maybe you do, I don't. City and State, the Daily Beast picked it up, wrote this whole story about how Lawler and Rosenberg are good, Lawler and D'Esposito are good buddies with Rosenberg, so he's on his show all the time. And then he talked about you and donations and money. I said, wait a second. As far as I know, John Catsimatidis, he donates to like 100 different politicians. John Catsimatidis donates to Republicans, to Democrats. So I'm not sure what that story was talking about. Were you?
That story was 100% false. The extreme left wing, which I hate extreme left, and I hate extreme right. Extreme left wing, journalist. What was his name? William Branderman?
Will Brederman, yes.
William Bob Branderman put it out at 4 o'clock in the morning before the publisher of the City and State knew about it, Tom Allen, and before the editor knew about it. And he just did a hit piece on you, a hit piece on me. When I talked to Tom Allen, the publisher, I said to him, that's 100% wrong. They insinuated that I gave a donation to D'Esposito and Lawler, and then he advertised with WABC, which is nonsense. I gave to over 100 candidates, and 2 or 3 of them advertised with WABC.
That's right.
I mean, so it was a very misleading headline. It was a misleading story. And this guy should not call himself a journalist. He should just call himself he should work for the National Enquirer?
Will Brederman, and yes.
Will Brederman,
yeah.
Let me tell you something. It is 110% wrong.
Yep.
And we're talking about now some of the advertisements we heard the last few days about how bad the other guy is versus what are you going to do to help our community, our city, our state, our country, the world. And we have serious problems. I think we are in the most important election of the century because tomorrow the people decide, the American people decide what direction they want to go. And I cannot believe these polls because the latest talk was that the American people, 40% of them are worried about the economy, and they should be worried. 17% of them worry about migration. I think New Yorkers is probably 40% migration.
Yep.
Because they're importing people from South America, Central America, Africa, flying them in unchecked. And I believe in immigration. Don't forget, I'm an immigrant. Yes, immigration. But you need an Ellis Island type operation where people check and see, do you have diseases? Are you a drug dealer? Are you a murderer? Are you a criminal? They didn't pay attention to this. So who do you want to vote for? The same people that have been running the country the last 4 years, or somebody that's going to care about the people of America and not bring in criminals into our country?
It really is. No, the choice is that simple. And look, and I admit this, John, look, I'm very biased in this race. You know, I've gotten pretty close with President Trump the last 2 years. He's been on this show, like your show, very often. I've campaigned for him. I did the thing at the Garden for him last week. So there's no gray area here. I love the guy. I want him to win. That's it. You're different. You know, you're friends with Trump much longer than I am. You like Donald Trump, but you deal with Republicans. You deal with Democrats. You've donated to both. You've got friends on both sides. Part of the reason why you're such a successful businessman is you deal with some of these people on both sides. So I'm biased. Okay. I want Trump to win. I think we're dead if he doesn't win, but you're not biased yet. It sounds to me like you feel the same exact way.
I believe in common sense Democrats. I believe in common sense Republicans. I believe in common sense independents. I believe in people that want to do the right thing for our country. And I urge them to do the right thing for our country. And my number one, in New York City, New York State, my number one item that I've talked to Mayor Adams about, I've talked to Governor Hochul about, is you got to keep New Yorkers safe. You can't go down the subway and look around and be afraid that somebody's going to slug you and throw you onto the tracks. I mean, we've talked about this many times. 3,300 repeat criminals. Some of them belong in Bellevue, in a mental institution where they can be treated, and some of them belong in a prison. Who called the shot in Washington to allow 13,000 murderers to enter our country? I mean, it comes down to simple things like that. I think it borders on the word treason when you allow murderers to come into our cities and kill our citizens.
Yep, it's true. Tell me about fraud. I know there's still a lot of nervousness, especially in the Trump campaign. He did make a couple of comments this weekend. Once again, he talked about, certain cities and getting screwed and voter fraud and all that. I know that's something you talk about quite a bit on Katz and Cosby.
Yes, there's a tremendous amount of fraud. And I said on Katz and Cosby, I said, look, I think people that are intentionally committing voter fraud have to be a mandatory jail sentence. It can't be a fine. You know why? They're going to find some sucker to pay off the fine, and
right.
and the guy is not going to get hurt.
Right.
Mandatory jail sentence if you're trying to change an election by what you are doing. That's the only way they're going to learn. Mandatory jail sentence. A $10,000 fine, they're going to find some extreme left-wing or right-wing person to pay off the fine.
Right.
So what good is it?
No good.
It's no good.
Right. So I know tomorrow night here at WABC, John, we've got extensive Election Day coverage. We've got a round table, about 7 or 8 of our most talented folks here at the station, led, of course, by you. Tell the folks what they're going to get tomorrow night on Election Day when they listen to WABC.
We're starting at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening and going through the entire night all the way to 6 a.m. The next morning. And hopefully we'll have I hope it's a landslide and things are decided. because some of the things that are happening, some of these judges that are making bad decisions, saying, oh, you can be late with the mail-in ballots. But by the way, one other report that came in, the Pentagon forgot to send ballots, and we're checking it out, and we'll know about it at 5 o'clock. Forgot to send ballots to our soldiers overseas.
Jeez. I saw that report. All right, so it's prediction time, John Catsimatidis, in the final couple of seconds here of this great appearance. When it's all said and done, whether it's tomorrow night, Wednesday, Thursday, who will be the 47th president of the United States?
I think Donald Trump is going to squeak it in. I believe the U.S. Senate is going to be won by the GOP. And the Congress, too many moving parts. There's 435 of them. Too many moving parts. I had lunch with Mike Johnson the week before. He thinks he's going to win it by 9. But if I had lunch with Hakeem Jeffries, he might tell me the same thing.
Right.
But Mike Johnson's a very honest person. I think it's going to be a squeaker.
So do I, but I do think they'll retain control. Mike Johnson, of course, terrific guy, is the Speaker of the House. John, is always a great segment. A lot of fun coming up the next couple of days. Your big show this afternoon, big show here, election night tomorrow night on WABC. Great job. Love you. And
God bless you, sir.
Big days. Thank you, John. God bless you, too. Thank you. That's my guy, John Catsimatidis, right there. Hosts 2 great shows on WABC, 5 p.m. every weekday, Katz and Cosby, and, of course, 8 a.m. every Sunday morning, the Katz Round Table. And I was kind of honored that this jackoff at City and State wrote that hit piece, and it was me and John together. That's my guy, John Catsimatidis. All right, me and you, John.